Welcome to this week's Hebrew class, which is taken from Yehochanan, John 11, verses 54 to 57, which is the final lesson of Yehochanan, John 11. So let us now begin. And of course, we have the Nakud vowel markings and the useful resources for anyone who's fairly new. So let us now begin. And of course, we see 54 is represented with a nun, which has a value of 50, and dalet, which has a value of 4, being the fourth letter of the alphabet. Now let's go through the letters. Ayin lamed, kaf, nun sofit, nun at the end of a word. Lamed, aleph, hey, taf, hey, lamed, kaf sofit, kaf at the end of a word. Yod, Hey, Vav, Shin, Ayin, Ayin, Vav, Dalet, Bayet, because of the dot there, Tav, Vav, but of course it's an O sound because the Vav takes on the vowel sound, and then Kaf Sofit. Then we have a Hey, Yod, Hey, Vav, but it's an U sound, Dalet, Yod, Mem Sofit. Now let us read that. Al-Ken. Al-Ken is translated as therefore. Lo, not. Hit halek. Hit halek, meaning he walked. Yahushua or Yahusha. Od, meaning more or still. Betok, meaning in, that's the bet. Tok is the midst. Ha-Yehudim, the Yehudim, meaning of the Yehudim, in the midst of the Yehudim. Therefore, Yeshua no longer walked among the Jews. That's the translation. Now let's read it. Al-Ken lo hit halek Yahushua od bet Tok ha-Yehudim. And moving on to part B. And again the letters Lamed, Ayin, Yod, Nun, Yod, Hey, Ayin, Mem Sofit, Kaf, Yod, Aleph, Mem Sofit, Samek, Resh, Mem, Shin, because the dot's on that side, Mem Sofit, Aleph, Lamed, Hey, Aleph, Resh, Zadeh Sofit, Zadeh at the end of a word. Hey, Kuf, Resh, Vav, Vayet, Hey, Lamed, Mem, Dalet, Bayet, and Resh. Now let's read that. Le, A, Ne. In the eyes or to the eyes. Ha'am, the people, ki, and then im. Ki im normally comes together. That's why we've got it joined here with the arrows, and it means but. But sar. Sar, meaning left. If we look down here, sar is a kal verb to turn aside, to deviate, to leave, to depart. So but left, mi sham. So mi means from, and sham is there, from there. El to ha-eretz, meaning the land, to the land. Ha-kerova, ha-kerova, meaning close. So how do we get that? Kerov is, as an adjective, it means adjacent, or close to, or near. So we translate it as close. Close to. La midbar literally means to the midbar, to the wilderness. So from the previous verse, among the Jews, he didn't walk among the Jews in the eyes of the people. Instead, he departed from there to the land near the wilderness. All right. Now we can read it. Le-e-ne ha'am ki im sar mi sham El haaretz ha-kerova la midbar. And moving on, part C. And we have an Aleph, Lamed, an Ayin, a Yod, a Resh, an Ayin, a Fei, because there's no dot, Resh, Yod, Mem Sofit, Vav, Yod, Gimel, Resh, Shin, Mem Sofit, Ayin, Mem Sofit, Tav, Lamed, Mem, Yod, Dalet, Yod, Vav. And now let's read it. El, ear. So El means two, ear means a city. Ephraim. Vayagar sham. Vayagar and sojourned. Because gar means, is as a kal verb, means to live, to dwell, to sojourn. And sojourned, by having the vav and the yod, it makes it into a completed action, a past tense, and sojourned. Im, with, talmidayev, his, that's the vav at the end, his talmid, his disciples. So from the previous verse, near the wilderness to a city called Ephraim, and he dwelled there with his disciples. Now let us read that. El Ir Ephraim Vayagar Sham Im Talmidayev. And now we're in 55, which is represented with the Nun 50 and a Hey, the fifth letter of the alphabet. And then we have Vav Yod Kuf Resh Veyet. This time there's no dot. Vav, but it's a new sound. Yod Mem Yod. Hey Pei, because it's a dot in it. Samek Chet. Lamed Yod Hey Vav. Dalet Yod Mem Safit. Vav Ayin Mem Safit. Resh Veyet. Ayin Lamed. Vav Mem Nun Sofit, Hey Aleph Resh, and Zade Sofit. And let's read it. Vayik Revu, and they drew near. If we look down here, Yikravu, the U at the end is they, and of course because we got this prefix tells us that it's to drew, they drew near. You may, and it's talking about what drew near, the days of, say, Ha-Pesach, Pesach, Passover, La Yehudim, for the Yehudim, the Rav, and many, that's Rav, people being Alu, meaning they went up, because al means to go up, right? Min from haaretz, from the land. The days of the Passover of the Jews drew near, and many people went up from the land. Here I've got al as a verb to go up, to ascend. As a prep, it can mean on, above, over, and about, but it's a verb. It starts the sentence, right? So we know it's a verb. So, and also I've got here, when there are two shavah, and that of course is the double vertical dots, consecutively, then the second one is a vocal shavah. Therefore we get re. So when we look here, that one becomes re. And which I've got here, right? Vayik Revu. Right, now let us read that again. And it is Vayik Revu Yemei Ha-Pesach La Yehudim Ve'am Rav Alu Min Haaretz. And now part B, and we have a yod, a resh, a vav. Remember that's a oo sound. A shim, a lamed, yod, mem, hey, lamed, fe, right? This is a fe. Nun, yod, hey, pay this time. Samek, chet, lamed, hey, tav, kuf, dalet, shin. Now let's read it. Yerushalayma. Yerushalayma. And the hey at the end is how we get to Yerushalayim, or to Jerusalem. Lifnei, before. It literally means to the face, but before is the way we can look at it. Ha-Pesach, the Passover. Lehit Kadesh. Lehit Kadesh, for sanctification, which is like a verb, right? From the land to Jerusalem before the Passover to sanctify themselves. The hey ending is termed as a directional hey, therefore to Jerusalem. Now let's read it. Yerushalayma lifnei ha-Pesach lehit Kadesh. And then we have a nun and a vav. Nun 50, vav is 6, sixth letter of the alphabet. Then we have a vav, yod, vet, kuf, shin, vav, aleph, tav, yod, hey, vav, shin, ayin, vav, yod, hey, mem, safid, ayin, mem, dalet, yod, mem, safid, bet, vet, yod, tav, hey, mem, kuf, dalet, and shin. And reading. Vevakshu, and they were seeking. At grammar marker, Yahushua, or Yahusha, he, and it was, hem, they or them, right? Dim was standing, they were standing. Bevet, in the house. Vet is house. Ha-Mikdash, meaning of the temple. They were seeking Yeshua, and it came to pass that they were standing in the house of the temple. Down here we've got bikesh, which is the piel verb from the first word there, and it means to seek, to demand, to request. And of course, amad is a kol verb to stand, to rise up, to withstand. Right, now let us read that. Vevakshu et Yahushua vehi hem dim bevet ha-Mikdash. And now part B, and we have a vav, a yod, a dalet, a bayit, resh, vav, aleph, yod, shin, aleph, lamed, resh, ayin, hey, vav, mem, hey, tav, aleph, mem, resh, vav, hey, kaf, yod, yod, vayet, vav, aleph, aleph, lamed, hey, chet, gimel. And now let's read it. Vedabru, and they said, because the bear meaning to say, right? Ish, meaning a man. L2, re'ehu, meaning his companion. If we look down here, re'eshem is where we get the root of it. It's the noun mean companion, comrade, friend. And the who, of course, means his. So it's to his companion. Ma, what? Tom Ru, Now that tav means the second person. Do you say with the tav? And then ha-ki, is it that? We know ki means that. So if we look down there, ha-ki is adjective or adverb, and it means is there, could it be, is it really? And the hey makes it a question. So it's a questioning hey. Yavo, which is he shall come. L2 he chag, the feast. They said to one another, what do you say? Shall he come to the feast? Right, now let us read that without any aids. Ve dabru ish el re'ehu ma tomru haki yavo el he chag. And 57, which is a nun and a zayin, seventh letter of the alphabet. So we get 57, and that's vav, resh, aleph, shin, yod, hey, kaf, hey, nun, yod, mem, safid, vav, hey, pei, resh, vav, shin, yod, mem, safid, gimel, zayin, resh, vav, gimel, zayin, resh, hey, aleph, shin, resh, aleph, mem, safid, yod, dalet, ayin. Right, now let's read it. The Rashi and the heads, because we know Rosh means head. Ha-Kohanim, the priest of the priest and the heads of the priests. The Ha-Perushim, and the Perushim, meaning the Pharisees. Gazru, they decreed. So how do we get that? Gazar is a kol verb to sentence, to decree, to develop, to derive a thought. And then we've got gezerah, an edict. Now this therefore is the noun, this is therefore the verb. An edict. If we look down there, gezerah is a feminine noun which means a decree, an edict, a command. So therefore, this one is the verb. They decreed, meaning it's something they did, so it's a verb, and this is the noun. Asher, that, im, which is if, yeda, he knew, or someone would know, the chief priests and the Pharisees issued a decree that if knew. So let's now read that. The Rashi ha-Kohanim, the ha-Perushim, gazru, gezerah, asher im yeda. All right, now we're up to 57b, and it is an aleph, yod, shin, aleph, tav, mem, kuf, vav, mem, vav, yod, vav, dalet, yod, ayin, nun, vav, lamed, mem, ayin, nun, safit, yod, taf, pei, sin, hey, and vav. And it is ish, a man, et, mekumo, well, we know that makom means place, right? So the O at the end is his place, and then of course et is a grammar marker. Yodi-a-nu, to make it known. So the nu, whenever we discovered, whenever there was a dagesh in it, because nu often can mean we, but when we have a dagesh in it, it can mean he or it, to make it known. And yodea, let's have a look. Hodea, which is like a root, is the verb to inform, to announce. So to make it known, to announce it, therefore. Le ma'an, so that, and then yit pe su hu, he will be captured. If knew anyone his whereabouts, he must make it known so that they could capture him. Right, and let's read that. Ish et mekomo yodi'enu lema'an yit pesuhu. Right, now we've come to the revision of those 4 verses, because we come to the end and we're hoping that we have a better understanding of the Hebrew and how to read it. So let us read it and translate it. And it is Alken, therefore, lo, not, hit, halek, he walked, Yahushua, od, meaning more or still, betok, in the midst, ha-Yehudim, of the Jews. Therefore, not he walked, Yahushua, more in the midst of the Yehudim. Le-ene, to the eyes or in the eyes, ha'am, of the people. Ki-im sar, which ki-im is but, sar, meaning to depart, but departed, turned aside. Mi sham, from there. El, to, ha-aretz, the land. Ha-karova, which means to the near or close, right? The one close, you could say. La midbar, to the wilderness. So literally to the land, the one that is close to the midbar, the wilderness. So in the eyes of the people, but left from there to the land close, literally it means the one close, to the wilderness. L2, Ir, a city, Ephraim, called Ephraim, Vayagar, and sojourned Sham there, Im, with Talmidaev, his disciples, to a city, Ephraim, and sojourned there with his Talmidim, disciples. And then we have a Nun, which is, of course, 50, and a Hey, which is 5. And we have Vayikravu, and they drew near, because Karav means to draw near. Yemei, the days. Ha-Pesach, of the Passover. La Yehudim, for the Yehudim. V'am, Rav, and Rav, and many people. Alu, they went up. Min, from Haaretz, the land. And they drew near the days of the Pesach for the Yehudim. And many people, they went up from the land. And then we have Yerushalayim, to Jerusalem. Lifnei, meaning before. Ha-Pesach, before the Passover. Le-hit kadesh, for sanctification. To Yerushalayim, to Jerusalem, before the Pesach, for sanctification. And then we have a Nun Vav, which is 56. Vakshu, and they were seeking. Et, grammar marker, Yahushua. He, and it was, hem, they, dim, was standing. Because dim is a participle, can mean standing, right? So they were standing. Bevet, in the house, ha-mikdash, of the temple. And the significance there is that with their devious desire to destroy Yeshua, they were saying those words in the temple, in the holy place. And they were seeking grammar marker Yahushua, and it was they were standing in the house of the temple. And now we understand why that was significant to say that. Ve'dabru, and they said, Ish, a man, El-tu re'ehu, meaning his companion, his comrade, Ma, what, Tomru, do you say? Haki, will or shall that, or is it that? Yavo, he shall come. El-tu, Chag, the feast. So let's see how we translate that. And they said, a man to his companion, what do you say? Is it that he shall come to the feast? Then we have a Nun 50, Zion 7. The Rashi and the heads, Ha-Kohanim, the priest, the Ha-Perushim and the Pharisees, Gazru, they decreed, Gezerah, an edict, Ashir, that, if, Yada, he would know, or he knew. And the heads of the priest and the Perushim, the Pharisees, they decreed an edict that if he knew. And then Ish, a man, et grammar marker, mekomo, from his makom, his place, right? So his place, at his place, where Yeshua would be. Yodi'enu, he would make it known. Le'ma'an, so that yit pesuhu, they would capture, he would be captured. So let's have a look. A man, grammar marker, his place, to make it known, so that he will be captured. And that brings us to the end of the entire chapter and this lesson. So we come to the valve markings, which are so important to understand them, to know them, and that's why I keep repeating them. Let's pick the bottom line. This vav, therefore, gives us an u sound rather than a vav sound, and it's called a shuruk. So the u sound is what we get from the first syllable of it, and the same with the diagonal 3 dots, which is a ku butz, and that's the sound we get. And of course, this is called, it's a shava with a segol, so it gives us a kataf segol, that's what it's called, and it gives us a se sound. And then we have chirik, that's the sound, chi. This is kataf patak, and this is a kataf kamatz, a longer a sound. And then we come to the final one, and this is where we begin to understand the values of the different letters And of course, we're on 57 back from that. So, of course, we're using Zayin, Vav, Hey, Dalet, and Gimel. But what's also we must remember is the higher value ones, like the Tav, which has a 400, the Shin a 300, the Resh a 200, and the Kuf a 100. And again, I've repeated the resources. For all those who are really keen in learning, these are the resources that are very helpful in your learning. So, as we come to the end of this, I want to wish you a Shavua Tov, and the next 3 sessions will be basically revisions of this chapter. So, may we be blessed with these lessons, and I want to wish you a Shavua Tov, a good week. Goodbye.